Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast, the show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adden, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets.
Go Jets.
Go Jets. We got another game this week. This time with ample rest, right? Because it's been ridiculous. Right? 11 in 3 days. I mean, that's awesome for us because we just snort Jets football for, a couple weeks. It's awesome. And we're going to, but we got the Broncos coming up, boys.
Yep.
They just had a good game finally.
A really good game, actually.
They did have a really good game. How are we feeling about that? I mean, it's the Bucs, to be fair, but the Bucs
are not a bad team, right? They're not scrubs, right? They beat the Lions already. The Bucs did. They have two great receivers, solid defense, defensive-minded coach.
Good offensive line too.
Baker Mayfield up through that game has been playing pretty much lights out. Total resurgence in his career. So it's it's a little bit it might be a tougher matchup on in some ways than the Patriots, but to me, those teams still seem kind of on the same level. The Jets have looked more impressive during more games. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Non.
Yeah, no, I think that when you look at Denver, one of the things is that first they have more talent than the Patriots do, especially on offense, right? Courtland Sutton is a very good wide receiver. They have a pretty decent offensive line, a stable of running backs, and Bo Nix as a rookie, does have his limitations, but he is a mobile quarterback, something that the Jets struggle with at times, especially with the aggressiveness of this defense. So there are some concerns on the offensive side. Defensively, I think they're kind of built exactly like the Patriots. Not many guys that you look at as game breakers, outside of their one corner, right? The Patriots have Christian Gonzalez and the Broncos have Patrick Surtain, who is, excellent. Probably the only person you could mention in the same breath as Sauce. So, I think that he's the one person you have to look out for on defense. Offensively, they can do some things. Sean Payton is an offensive coach. And, so I think I wouldn't discount this offense, but they should be able to move the ball on this defense. So just kind of high level, that's kind of what I see. An offense that can be scrappy and a defense you should be able to move the ball on.
Yeah. I'll talk about first why the Bucs lost. What happened in that game, right? Basically, Baker was just pressured nonstop in that game. And what was it, 7 sacks or 6 in that game?
It was multiple. I didn't see
it was 7 sacks, 40% of his pressures, right? And and actually here's the other stat that the PFF gave that Bo Nix out clean the pocket was for him. 75% of his dropbacks were not pressured.
Wow.
Yeah. So Bucs, the things that the Bucs are known to be good for, right? One, blocking, right? And pass rush, right? Failed them completely, right? Failed them completely. So the trenches is what happened, right? But what is this team built on?
Trenches.
Both sides of the ball now, right? Yep. And Quinnen showed the fuck up last week. Huge. He had 5 pressures on his 22 pass rushes, which is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Real good.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
Yeah. This game's going to go different. Bo Nix, me. And who do they play so far? It was Seattle, right?
Yep.
Who leads the league in I believe leads the league in pressures right now.
Yeah,
But they blitz like a motherfucker, right?
Yeah, they played Pittsburgh also.
And Pittsburgh blitz like a motherfucker, right? And, well, actually, no, they do not blitz like a motherfucker, but
they just have great upfront pressure.
They have great upfront pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tampa, not so much, right? And actually, that kind of makes sense. I'm trying to think what's on their D line that's like from like the old guard, right? That's still there. Vita Vea, right? That's pretty much it, right?
But he didn't even play. He was out.
Right.
He didn't even play, right? What about is Barrett still there?
No, he retired.
He did retire. So what do they have? What do the Bucks have on the defensive front?
I mean, they have some young guys that haven't made a name for themselves, but yeah, I mean, I think we get what you're saying, right? Is that the Bucks didn't have big name guys to rush the passer, and Bo Nix with a clean pocket and time to throw can do some things. So totally understand. I think that the Jets have an advantage there where they can get to the quarterback, right? But again, my only thing is just be under control when you're doing that. Don't lose contain because he can run. So that's the only thing. If he starts running around, Levis killed the Jets with his legs. Purdy had a couple of runs. Brissett really can't run, so it didn't even come into play. But that's something that I would be, concerned about.
It changed, though, when Quincy was running the mic, though. Levis wasn't getting out. Well, he did get out sometimes, right?
I mean, he did, right? And that's the thing. And I think Quincy.
But that's like sneaky running, right? And same thing with Bo Nix, I guess, would be the same category, right?
But that's my point, right? He's not going to run designed runs like Lamar Jackson. But if you become undisciplined, he'll take advantage, right? So discipline is going to be very important on defense because you don't want Nix gaining confidence. Right, these rookie quarterbacks. Look at Jaden Daniels last night. As soon as he gained some confidence, he went
great,
right? And
he did look good.
Yeah, he's excellent, and he gained confidence, and he couldn't miss. Right now, I'm not saying
he's been the best looking rookie so far for the quarterback class.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Bo Nix is in the same stratosphere athletically or arm talent wise as Jaden Daniels. But the concept remains the same that if you let these rookie quarterbacks get comfortable for even a second, they can do some damage. They're first-round picks for a reason, right? So I think the key, you got to keep him uncomfortable. Don't let him gain confidence by being able to run the ball. And I think, I think the Jets will be in a good spot.
So funny about Bo Nix, and I had to look this up, and I couldn't believe it. He's the only guy on the team with more than 100 rushing yards in 3 games.
Yeah. He had 107 or something like that.
Yeah, that's but Batty but he's got that 143-yard carry.
It's Beatty, by the way.
Whatever, man. What happened? I guess Javonte had the ACL that kind of killed him, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they use a running back by committee, right? So any one of those guys, Beatty is one of those dudes who he might play 7 plays, but as you see in his stat line, he can bust big runs. Like the whole key again to this is going to be discipline, right? And Sean Payton is a very good play designer and a very good play caller. So if he sees you start becoming undisciplined, he's going to use that against you. So those are the things that you really have to watch out for, when you're the Jets.
Yeah, I think also, something, a couple things that I think we should, look out for as far as threats to us. If Bo Nix can get going on the ground, I think this defense is built to have kind of like almost like a cushion in a way. Like, I think a QB, we've seen it with Levis, we've seen it in, in other situations. Running QBs can get some success against us. So if Bo Nix, decides to, if they design some plays, if they can get him going on the ground effectively, that might be a threat. Also there, if they can get pressure on us, obviously that's just a generic threat that could always happen. But another one is kind of a little more nuanced is Riley Moss.
Yep, I was just looking up Riley Moss.
Yeah, so Riley Moss, he was there.
He
was one of their. Yeah, he's one of their. Yeah, you can do the stats part. I'm just saying he was one of their highest graded players just last week. I think he had like a 90 something PFF grade overall. But he has been playing very well, and if he can take, if Surtain can cancel out Garrett, and he can, help, with maybe Mike Williams or with Lazard, take them out, then that might make it a little bit difficult for us. And then we may have to, resort to, some other means, maybe run the ball more, some dump offs, whatever the case may be. I'm sure Rodgers will figure it out. But that right there could be a very big pain in the ass for our offensive plan if they're able to deploy him and Patrick Surtain effectively against us.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this about Riley Moss because first off, he's white.
I was just going to say that.
He's the resurgent of white cornerbacks in this league.
He's one of the only starting white cornerbacks in the league. There's like, what, 3,
the
4?
Eagles have one too, right?
That's what I'm saying. There's like 3, 4 starters.
Yeah, but it's all right. Let's go. I mean, as the white guy in the group, like, all right,
Yeah, there was 100%. It was 100% black for years.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, all right. But anyway, I'll stop at that. But basically, because I know Adnan is just like compliance, like no, don't do it. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing: like, he's 6'1", man. I don't think he's gonna keep up with Mike Williams. Right?
Well, I think the other thing you have to look at, right, is this defense doesn't worry me like that because.
Doesn't.
You have to think about what Aaron Rodgers is right now. And we saw it on Thursday. He's a point guard, right? Take away Garrett and Mike Wilson. He'll kill you with Lazard, Conklin, Ruckert, Allen, and Brees, right? Take away Lazard and Garrett, fine. He'll kill you with the other guys, right? Yeah. And I think that's the thing we have to look at is that the only thing that can't happen is Rodgers getting consistently pressured. If you can keep pressure off of him, I don't care about any team secondary because he's going to pick you apart, right? So I think that's the key here is that unlike years past where you just kind of have to throw the ball up to Garrett and hope he can make a play, here I think Rodgers can just really mitigate a lot of those things. So, it'll be interesting to see how they deploy, Moss and Surtain. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be, the offense is going to be able to move the ball almost at will.
Yeah, say one thing about this game. All right, so even though we won last year and it was like the Hackett revenge game, this is real. Like Hackett won last year, right, running the ball, right, and also losing ABT in the game. Knock on wood, ABT, don't do it again.
Yes, please.
Seriously. But like, now Hackett's got Aaron fucking Rodgers, you know what I mean? To like showcase what that offense could be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna just say this. If you're gonna make any stupid parlays this weekend, right? I just feel like Rodgers just take over on everything Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Just do what you have to do. Like if you've got a small business that you just set some money into, risk it all on it, right?
Yeah.
I just
because they're talking about it. Rodgers didn't get his crack to defend his buddy Hackett.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like he didn't.
I'm sure it came up. They were like, "Man, fuck this guy."
He's gonna be like, "Fuck this guy."
He talks so much shit. Yeah,
he talked a lot of shit for a guy that won one Super Bowl, had Drew Brees, a Hall of Fame quarterback, who's
had a terrible season last season. Is having a
terrible season last year. They got rid of Russell and had to start all over again.
Yeah. And despite that win, is not having a good season either so far.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this about Bo Nix. I thought he would be better than most from this draft class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Caleb should be the best of the group, given whatever, or Jaden Daniels, right? Because those are the two Heisman winners in this one. But like after those two, like I thought Nix. I didn't think anything of JJ. we won't see, right? I don't know. I don't really know enough about Michael Penix to really say anything, and I don't think actually that one might be interesting. He might come into play at some point because Cousins is, he's not really getting the whole offense going.
He's looking a little sluggish coming off
Drake May should
that
not
Achilles.
play this year. That team is really bad.
No, I agree completely. Drake May should not step foot on the field. They're gonna get him killed.
They're gonna get and I think they know that, and I think that's the greatest bet I ever made. The Drake May under on his passing yards, right?
Yeah. I listen. But kind of just shifting back to the Broncos for a sec. Like this, don't get me wrong. I was saying some things that could happen, that could be threats. Another one could be the fact that I feel like Garrett Wilson, he's not playing to like his peak right now. Now, whether that means he's warming up into it or not, and someone like Surtain, I don't remember Wilson really smoking top corners like that. Like, I feel like he had
Zach Wilson throwing to him, dude.
I know, but what I'm saying is when you look at his ability to get open, how mobbed or not, his release and stuff like that, like versus like really good corners, I'd love to see like the data on that, because in my just watching the game, just from the fan perspective, he doesn't seem like he's that guy that like can just beat those guys, every so often. Like he's great. He's obviously, a top 10, 15 receiver in the league right now with upside to be a top 5. But I'm saying right this point in time and from what we've seen of him, I think it's possible that Surtain can cancel him out for a game. It's possible. But that being said, that's just like me trying to be nice to the Broncos, because ultimately I think we should stomp them out in this game. So the Broncos are averaging 2 turnovers a game. They're bottom of the league in third down conversions. And they're bottom of the league in red zone percentage, and we are 5th in the league in red zone stops, and we're only allowing 30% through 3 games. So they're not getting it done in terms of where it counts, and then they're not going to like be that much of a threat in the red zone. And then another interesting thing is with Bo Nix, he's 30th in the league in air yards per attempt, but he actually has the 4th most attempts. So his ADOT, his average depth of target, is really shallow. And this goes back to college with him. Back in college, he was 193rd in ADOT, out of qualified quarterbacks. And he was like, let's see, he had he only had 7 yards per attempt. So like he's not really a deep thrower. They called him bubble screen Bo. So he's not a deep thrower. I think that presents itself as a weakness that the Jets can massively exploit. I think we're not going to give up the big plays, and I think he's going to have to beat us in short range, where we are really, really good in short range coverage. And then when he gets to the end zone, I don't think he can make it happen. I don't think this team's built to make it happen over us. So, this should honestly not be, this should maybe be a game that starts out a little bit slow, maybe no points for the first quarter. And then I think we should just pull away. And I don't think it should be close after that.
Gotcha. I just want to give some benefit to Garrett Wilson against good corners from last year. Okay. And once again, with Feces throwing him the ball, right? Most of the time. Okay. Dallas, he only had 2 catches in that game, but that was terrible QB play by Zach. But he had that bomb against Diggs before Diggs got hurt. And it was covered from Bland. But still, the Buffalo game, he was going against what? White? Is that right? Tre'Davious White?
No, he was
at the stupidest catch I've ever seen outside of Odell Beckham, right?
Yeah, the tap to himself catch that he made Zach Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. And he still had a decent day against Surtain last year, 3 of 7, 54, but one of them was a pick, right? And Surtain made a stupid play. The Chiefs game, that's a fair one, right? Because he was being moved around a lot, and the Chiefs are good defensively, right? 9 of 13 for 60, But once again, Zach Wilson, right? And no blocking, right? I'm gonna just keep going on this just for the fuck of it. Houston last year, he's going against Stingley.
Yeah, Stingley.
Yeah, 108 yards on 9 catches. That's last year, right? And then at the end of the year last year, Washington. I'm trying to think who's their. No, they don't really have a corner.
No, they have a bad secondary.
Yeah, Ward 50 yards on 5 catches. I mean, it's hard to say with Garrett Wilson, right? I mean, he's talented and he makes some stupid fucking plays, right? And then if you go to the year before that, and that's with Mike White, who I think the Dolphins wish they still had him, right?
They're fucked. They are cooked.
I mean, the Cleveland game, Denzel Ward, he had the 2 touchdowns, 8 catches, 102 yards, right? He's had. I think he does fine against elite corners. That's what I just wanted to get at right there.
I mean, fine, but it's not like great. It's not like elite. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And he's on his way to being an elite guy, and we want him to be an elite guy. He wants to be an elite guy. I don't see elite yet from him in this season against.
Well, and I mean, look. I think that the big thing here, right, is I totally understand every fan base, including us, wants a Justin Jefferson, wants a Jamar Chase, wants the guy who every week is going to be going, 8 for 110 and 2 touchdowns, right? But again, with Aaron Rodgers, you don't need that, right? And Garrett will get his when the opportunity presents itself. Doesn't matter if it's against Surtain or against a bad team. It's not going to matter. He's going to get his, when the opportunity presents itself. And I think, another piece with Aaron is he is, I think, going to make a more concerted effort to get the ball to Garrett Wilson. And it will come when it comes. So I don't think right now saying he's elite, I haven't seen it. He has elite talent. And he's working towards elite production. And I think it'll get there, like Roger said, once they get on the same page. So I don't think comparing stats without Rodgers, with Rodgers, he's going to get there. And when he does, it's going to be amazing. But
this is in the context of the Broncos game that's upcoming, though. This is not. I'm not looking at it season long. Of course, you're right, but I'm talking about right now for this next game where he has to go up against basically the sauce of the Broncos. It's and based on how he's looked so far and based on his history, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he's not a very integral factor to winning this game. Is really what I'm getting at. Not any knock on him or what he's going to do this year. He's going to be great. He's fine. And then as we've talked about, once him and, Rodgers, their chemistry builds, he has top 5 upside. We know that. I'm just saying for this game, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm laying the over on everything Garrett Wilson too in that fucking Aaron Rodgers fucking parlay bet.
I mean, listen, and hopefully this is the week, right?
But hopefully that's what it does. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm gonna cook up some wacky parlay. I think
this seems like a Mike Williams game to me.
He might be right on that. That might be the bigger mismatch because Garrett's going to be shadowed by Surtain, right?
Correct. I think Mike Williams can moss, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's definitely worthy of the moss thing. Yeah. And they're just going to ground and pound. I will say this. I'm kind of happy that Broncos got their good game out of the way, right? Punching above their belt.
Yeah.
Winning a game that shouldn't won. It's actually kind of crazy. Survivor this year's been fucking crazy, right? I can imagine that a lot of people are done.
Yeah, I've seen one that restarted. Because I'm in another league where
restarted.
They also do. Everyone lost. Like basically, it got to the end or whatever. Only one person was left. Yeah. Everyone was out, so
that's a bad survivor pool.
Yeah, I know. So they restarted it. Basically, obviously you have to pay again, but they basically restarted the pool for the rest of the season.
That's really lame.
Why is that really lame?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It should just go to the people that got to week 3 and split the entries. That's really what it should be, right?
Yeah, but if everyone picked wrong bets, then you don't get the money. Like, you shouldn't get the money if everyone lost. Everyone lost. Like, everyone.
I
picked
know,
the
but
team
that's
that
how
lost.
it should be. That's how it should be in Survivor, right? Everyone that made us week 3, they split the pot amongst the entries, right? And then if you want to start a new Survivor league, you just do it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess
That's
I don't
how
know.
it should be.
Well, I mean, how many people? Right? I mean, it all depends on a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I think
does,
there
but
was
like, let's say it was 50 entries, right? It was down to 14, and all 14 lost, right?
no, it was 12. It was 12 people. It was down to like 5, and all 5 lost.
Yeah, it should be split amongst the 5.
And
And then they start all over again.
It's not that much, you know.
It's
No,
still it's a week. I was a part of this one that our old boss Danny had. It was the pot got to like 1.3 million, and it was like $100 an entry. Very illegal, and the guy definitely takes a rake.
Wow.
But like, my God, that was a tough one. And also, what was crazy was by week 11, there's too many entries still left. They would double it. They would double, so you'd have to pick 2 every week.
Damn.
Yeah. I got through through week 13 one season. It was the year the Chiefs were like dominant with Alex Smith, and then they lost the Giants after losing to the when they lost like back to back to the Giants and the Jets in MetLife. It was so weird.
That's crazy. I wouldn't expected that, but yeah, I mean, Survivor pools they're kind of fun, but
yeah, they are. Don't do boxes, people. Those are sucker bets.
Yeah.
1 in 100. Oh, I could turn 100. No. Final thoughts. Go ahead, Monty.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's some things to be, weary of and to look out for, some matchups to look out for, obviously this, but I think it's going to come down to the running game, and it's going to come down to Mike Williams or possibly Lazard, one of those two. Whoever is the more, there's a very good chance that we see another Lazard game, which is crazy, because he's just been dominating, and it's like I've been just trying to avoid picking him up in fantasy, but it's like, now he's gone probably.
He's relevant.
Yeah, he's actually relevant, and he will be that probably for the rest of the season with Rodgers. I mean, he's put up 700 plus yards in the season before, so we'll see what can happen. But ultimately, I'm not too worried about this game. I'm only worried insofar as it's the Jets, and I'm always a little bit worried. I'm always cautiously optimistic. I'm always err on the side of, not expecting us to be like great, but maybe we are finally great. And hopefully we are. But I think this should be a game we win. We are favored. John, do you have the
7.5? It started at 8.5 after the Jets game, and then when the Broncos dominated the Bucks, it went down to 7.5. And it's 32.5.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember that now. Yeah, and I was saying, like, honestly, me personally, like 6.5 sounds good to me on this game. So it's like, I think that we're still, going to have a dominant performance. How dominant it is, obviously, is up to the game plan, up to the coaches, up to Aaron Rodgers, and up to those, those guys that I mentioned, Williams, Lazard, Braylon Allen, and Brees. And then of course the defense. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm actually feeling pretty confident about this one. I think we walk away with the W. And prediction wise, I'm gonna say 21-14.
Nice. Yeah. I think, this game, again, it's one of those things where the spread says it should be easy. The rosters say it should be easy, but I would be wary. Don't just chalk this up as a W and move on. I think it will be competitive at points, and I think the Jets will, come out and win at the end. I think the final score will be something, 24-20, 24-17, somewhere around there, close to covering. They may not, but I think it'll be a win regardless.
I will just recap. Last week, I said it was going to be 24-10. It was pretty fucking close.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong on that, but I was pretty sure I said 24-10. I looked the last time.
It was a pretty big. Yeah, you said you did predict that it was going to be a bigger spread than we did.
Yep. Okay. I think once again this is just gonna and like the Jets should have won. It should have been 27, right? And actually, there's probably some moments in that game where the Jets really should have just taken over, right? I think Rodgers is just gonna fucking cook. Let him cook. Let him cook. 27-10. Let him cook. If anyone watches Breaking Bad, it's one of the best shows to ever be put together. And by the way, if you guys want to follow, like, comment, subscribe to us first off.
Yeah.
Jets_propaganda. He's got some amazing memes.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's got some I think he's the funniest follow on Instagram. I would love to have him on the show. Just like, how do you come up with these masterpieces? And him just showing up with like a black turtleneck, kind of like Steve Jobsy, you know? I think that would be it. But I'm excited for it. I'm going to the game again. These guys are not. Adnan lives in North Carolina, so it's a little more difficult for him to make the journey up here, back to the motherland. Monty's just lazy.
What the hell? Yeah,
he's just lazy, but he's coming to. These guys are both coming to other games this year, so. But yeah, it's crazy. I can't fill tickets for the Bills game, the Monday night game. No one wants to do that because it's a Monday night game.
Wow.
Yeah, Monday night games are tough.
They are tough on the body.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you have to drink all that beer, in the parking lot, and then after the game, you got to get back into New York or wherever the fuck you're going. It's really a pain in the ass. Anyway, besides that, I almost showed this one again. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. But we're gonna go back to the normal.
Yeah.
But,
and the Broncos for this week.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Hackett gets another smile on his. That's the thing, right? If they dominate again, this is just great for Hackett, right? Especially after the last game, right?
Yep.
And Rodgers too.
Yeah, just because he talks shit. I have nothing against the Broncos at all. I mean, I don't care about that team, but
yeah, same.
But I will say that Rodgers did make it a point on McAfee last year to be like, "How the hell do you do that?" Anyway, have a good night, people.
Good night, everyone.
See you.